This is Right to Life Radio, a production of Right to Life of Central California. And now, here's your host, John Girardi.
It's just me today, and what we're going to do, just me, it's John Girardi, the host of Right to Life Radio, the host of The John Girardi Show throughout the week, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7. And today what we want to do on Right to Life Radio, I want to talk about commonly asked pro-life questions. This is not going to be a topical newsy show. This is going to be like kind of an evergreen episode, if you will, where I want to talk about some issues that relate to the question of abortion, where people constantly, frequently ask questions about these certain kinds of topics. And I want to kind of clarify some of these things, and including one of these things that we've talked about a lot on this show in the last few months, and that has to do with the abortion pill. And I want to explain it because every time I talk about it, I realize that people don't actually understand what the abortion pill is. When I say the abortion pill, people think I mean the morning after pill. And they therefore think that I am wrong to call it the abortion pill because the morning after pill is a contraceptive. It's labeled as a contraceptive. It's presented as a contraceptive. Now, let's talk about that and kind of maybe we'll define our terms and maybe we'll use more precise terms. Okay. So the morning after pill, so-called, is in fact most of the time, from what we know, a contraceptive. Okay. So this is medication that someone takes the morning after. And the idea, the primary intended function of the medication is to prevent fertilization, prevent sperm and the egg from meeting to form a zygote, a new human organism. So it's genuinely contraceptive. Now, like many hormonal contraceptives, the morning after pill has a backup mechanism to sort of prevent a newly fertilized egg, a new human organism, from adhering to the uterine wall. So like most forms of chemical contraception, the pill, many other kinds, it has an a potentially abortifacient side effect. The IUD, for example, is sort of a famous example of this. Intrauterine devices are actually not contraceptive at all. The only thing they do is prevent newly fertilized eggs from adhering to the uterus, from implanting. So anyway, that's a separate issue. The morning after pill does chiefly function as a contraceptive. I am talking about the abortion pill, and to be more specific, because the terminology of what we call this thing is highly polemicized and highly disputed. Pro-lifers call it the abortion pill. The pro-abortion side calls it a medication abortion, which I don't like to do. I don't think medicine involves killing people. It's part of this broader argument about, is abortion healthcare? Is abortion medicine? Is abortion medical care? And this is an actual argument. I think sometimes people will hear either pro-lifers say that abortion is not healthcare, or pro-abortion people say that abortion is healthcare, and they think they're saying on the pro-life side that abortion is bad because it's not healthcare. Pro-abortion people saying abortion is good because it is healthcare. No. What we're arguing about is something a little more fundamental. Healthcare, medicine, being defined as interventions to help the human body flourish, to help the human body function correctly, to take the human body from a place of malfunctioning, not flourishing, into a place of improvement, of flourishing, of functioning. That is what healthcare is. That is what medicine is. Okay, interventions, whether surgical or chemical or what have you, to correct something that's wrong with the body. And it's the difference between, for example, I broke my nose playing hockey and my nose is like, and I get a nose job to correct it, versus I'm Michael Jackson and I bizarrely think that my nose doesn't look right, so I have a bunch of elective surgeries. Okay? Fixing the hockey player's broken nose, that's healthcare. That's medicine. You're correcting something that's wrong. The guy's nose is broken. You need to fix it. You might need to reconstruct it somehow. Michael Jackson, is that healthcare? Well, not really. It's not medicine. It's not healthcare. You're not fixing anything that's wrong. There was nothing wrong with Michael Jackson's nose before the nose jobs. He looked like a perfectly normal person. He was doing this for cosmetic reasons. Now, he might have needed healthcare professionals to do it. It probably had a bunch of healthcare side effects, but that intervention to give him a nose job to make his nose look more aesthetically pleasing to his questionable judgment, that's not healthcare. And we don't recognize, and because we view it as something a little different from normal healthcare, that has all kinds of public implications. It has implications for things like, okay, our insurance company is going to cover this? Should state-funded insurance plans for, say, lower-income people? Medi-Cal is not covering nose jobs, nor should it. Okay, it's the difference between someone had breast cancer, they had a mastectomy, they're going to have a reconstructive surgery for their breasts. That's a little different from I want to look hot, I want to get a boob job and have big old boobs. Like, okay, those are two separate kinds of things. One is more legitimately healthcare, the other is not. So I don't like calling the abortion pill medication abortion, because what medical condition is abortion correcting? Pregnancy is not an illness. Pregnancy is a natural bodily function and process that abortion is artificially arresting and stopping. It's not an illness. It's not fixing something that's wrong. It's not taking the human body to a more flourishing state. It's an artificial intervention, and thus I don't think we should call abortion healthcare. I don't think we should call the abortion pill medication. Okay? So, anyway, the abortion pill is often called medication abortion, but its sort of trade name is Mifeprex or mifepristone. Okay, that's the drug that was approved by the Food and Drug Administration back in the year 2000. And the abortion pill, mifepristone, is different from the morning after pill. Sometimes people call the morning after pill Plan B, and sometimes people will call the abortion pill Plan C. Okay. So the abortion pill, mifepristone, according to current FDA guidelines, can be taken up to 10 weeks into a pregnancy in order to artificially bring about an abortion. So it's actually the first in a series of two medications that are taken. The first is called mifepristone, and what mifepristone does is it inhibits the hormone progesterone. Progesterone, as maybe you can make out from its name, for in favor of gestation, having child. It's a very important hormone, progesterone is, for people to have a baby, to have a healthy pregnancy. Progesterone is very important to allow the embryo to adhere to the uterine wall, to allow this new human organism to adhere to the uterine wall and receive its food supply, the baby's food supply from mom. Without progesterone, the baby will detach from the uterine wall, be cut off from its food supply, and die. Starve to death, if you will. So that's what progesterone, or the abortion pill, is. That's what it is. It inhibits a hormone that's necessary for the child to continue living in the mother's womb. The second pill that's then taken about 48, 72 hours later is called misoprostol. And misoprostol is used in a variety of legitimate contexts, not just used for abortion. Misoprostol can be used to induce labor. Our buddy Jonathan Keller talks about how his wife Julia was like a week late in delivering their first son, and they gave misoprostol, okay, because sometimes that helps for inducing labor. So you take within the first 10 weeks of pregnancy, according to the FDA guidelines, one takes mifepristone. Then several days later, at home, usually, not in a healthcare clinic. The first pill used to be given to people in a healthcare clinic. Then a few days later, at home, the second pill, misoprostol, is taken, which induces miscarriage, which induces labor. And basically, it brings about an artificial miscarriage of a child who is up to 10 weeks old. Okay. So the abortion pill is not the morning after pill. It is something else. It is something that is a much more drastic intervention. And this is such an important issue, and it's such an important thing for pro-lifers to understand. Why? Because about 52% of abortions, more than half of all abortions performed in America today, are performed via the abortion pill. I think most people still have this idea in their heads that abortion is chiefly done in a clinic with a doctor performing a surgery, performing a surgical intervention like a dilation, a D&E or something like that. And that's not the case. Less and less, that is the case. Now, I think the other great myth, maybe the next bubble to sort of pop with the abortion pill, is it's promoted as being incredibly safe. Oh, very low risk. It's very safe. And I've heard advocates talk about it being as safe as taking a Tylenol. And in the next segment, we're going to dive into that. We're going to dive into the reality of the abortion pill, which is that it's a very serious healthcare intervention where its adverse effects have not been properly studied by the FDA. So we're going to dig into all that next. This is Right to Life Radio on Power Talk, rtlcc.org to learn more about us at Right to Life of Central California. Back on Right to Life Radio, we're trying to talk about some big misconceptions on the topic of abortion. This is our evergreen episode, kind of explaining some of the basics about the nature of abortion as it's practiced today in the United States, as we at Right to Life work to provide resources and alternatives to women who might be thinking about abortion. Earlier this week, we had a birthday party for several of the women that we've helped who've chosen life. We also, if you guys want to support the cause of life and help provide women with great healthcare resources, those of you who listen to Power Talk, you might have heard some of the ads for our Obria clinic. This is a pro-life, nonprofit OBGYN clinic serving lower-income women with great quality prenatal care here in Fresno. You can go to Obria365, OBRIA365.org. Make a little contribution. We have our Obria 365 Club, which is basically, hey, $1 a day to help support the work of our Obria clinic. It's a nonprofit, tax deductible. So Obria365.org if you want to help support our work. All right, so we're talking about the abortion pill, which is not the morning after pill. The abortion pill is basically a series of 2 drugs which are taken up to 10 weeks into a pregnancy, basically to bring about an artificial miscarriage. This is not the morning after pill to prevent conception. This is drugs to induce a miscarriage. Now, the big lie about the abortion pill is how safe it is. It's constantly being shouted by the pro-abortion side that the abortion pill is safe. It's safe. It's safe. There's so few incidents of adverse outcomes. Look at how safe it is. I've seen with my own two eyes and heard with my own 2 little ears. Dr. Daniel Grossman, who's the head of the Bixby Center for Reproductive Studies or Science at UC San Francisco. And he was testifying in front of the California State Legislature on the topic of the abortion pill, the Bixby Center for Global Reproductive Health at UCSF. He was the director there. And he said with a straight face in front of a committee of the California State Legislature that the abortion pill is safer than Tylenol. Let's talk about that. I don't know how he came up with this idea of the abortion pill being safer than Tylenol, but let's understand here. If you take Tylenol in its appropriate dosages, Tylenol is way safer than the abortion pill. Tylenol is only dangerous if you overdose on it. Okay, so it seems like he was likely comparing apples with oranges, looking at normal ways of using the abortion pill and its adverse health outcomes versus abnormal overdosing ways of using Tylenol. Okay, yeah, if you use fentanyl as part of an ingredient in certain kinds of drugs in a normal hospital setting, then it's not that dangerous. If you take an unexpectedly high dosage of it on the street, it will kill you, okay? Any drug, if you misuse it and use way too much of it, or very many drugs anyway, are very likely to be dangerous for you. So he's comparing that to the record of the abortion pill. Now, what is the record of the abortion pill? By presenting it as safer than Tylenol, it is presenting this cruelly false narrative about the nature of how drastic an intervention the abortion pill is. The pro-abortion side does this constantly. You've had all these different kinds of outlets who try to describe the abortion pill as, well, it's like Plan B, only it's a little later. It's Plan C. It's no big deal. It's just like a heavy period. A heavy period. That's how it's described. It isn't. It's more than that. I'm just going to look at here the black box label, as it's called. Okay, so this is the label that's right on the box for mifepristone, which is the active drug in the abortion pill. This is the first pill you take that alters the lining of a woman's uterus so that the baby dies. Then later you take the second pill. So this is the black box FDA-required label that's put on the packaging for mifepristone. Warning: serious and sometimes fatal infections or bleeding. See full prescribing information for complete boxed warning. Serious and sometimes fatal infections and bleeding occur very rarely following spontaneous surgical and medical abortions, including following mifeprex use. Now, to flesh out this warning, at least 29 women that we know of have died from using mifepristone. At least 29. Maybe there have been more and it hasn't been captured. Thousands of women that we know of through 2016, and I'll explain why only through 2016, thousands of women, over 3,000 women, had been hospitalized due to excessive bleeding, hemorrhaging from using the abortion pill. The abortion pill involves, when it is used, can involve very painful cramping, extremely painful cramping, high levels of bleeding, and there is risk of hemorrhaging, of passing blood clots, and infection. Now, why did I say before up through 2016? Barack Obama, in his last year in office, his FDA issued a series of new regulations and, I should say deregulations and a loosening of restrictions around the abortion pill, mifepristone, or mifeprex. And this changed the regulatory sort of state of the abortion pill in a number of ways, which I think led to, at this point, the abortion pill being, the preferred method of performing abortions in the United States. It increased the range when women, the FDA recommended range when people could have the abortion pill. It increased it from 7 weeks to 10 weeks. And critically, it altered the standards for reporting adverse outcomes from the abortion pill. Critically, the 2016 rule basically said that no adverse health outcomes from the abortion pill needed to be reported other than death. So this is the insanity of abortion advocates post-2016 talking about how safe the abortion pill is. Well, yeah, it's safe. You haven't collected any of the data. We have no idea how dangerous it is. Plus, all of the data we have about hemorrhaging, excessive bleeding, infection, etc., was up until 2016 when the abortion pill was only allowed to be used for the first 7 weeks of pregnancy. The FDA guidelines were for the first 7 weeks of pregnancy. Since 2016, it's been increased to 10. So this is the madness of the abortion pill lobby, of the pro-abortion lobby, is to try to make this claim, oh, the abortion pill's safe. Oh, the abortion pill is so safe. It's the safest thing. It's the safest thing in the world. It's so much safer than having a baby. Blah, 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 blah. Well, yeah, it's safe if you ignore all the evidence of it not being safe. It's astounding how they got away with all this. And it's a thing to kind of infuriate you against, you know, as a pro-lifer here to saying this, it's a thing to infuriate you against Republicans. Because for 8 years of the Clinton administration, Clinton and his FDA worked like busy little beavers to bring the abortion pill over from Europe, to get it FDA approval, finally concluding in September of 2000 with an expedited approval process, which you're only supposed to do for medications that cure serious illnesses, which, again, as we said in the first segment, the abortion pill does not cure any serious illness. Pregnancy is not an illness. So for 8 years, the Clinton administration worked tirelessly to bring the abortion pill over to the United States, get it FDA approved. 8 years of the Bush administration, nothing. Over his 8 years, Barack Obama issued regulations to loosen up restrictions around the abortion pill, get rid of reporting requirements for adverse health outcomes. In fact, I just heard from a doctor who dealt with a patient who had taken the abortion pill and went to the hospital, and the hospital said, well, there's nothing we can do for you. So I doubt, you know, someone who had so much bleeding that they went to the hospital for it. Hospital said, we can't really help you. I won't say the hospital, won't say the patient, won't say any of that. But that's probably not reported. That incident is not reported as an adverse outcome from the abortion pill. So you had 8 years of Clinton working like a beaver to bring it over, 8 years of Bush doing nothing, 8 years of Obama deregulating the abortion pill, loosening up restrictions, 4 years of Donald Trump doing nothing on the abortion pill. And now, almost 3 years into the Biden administration, where the Biden administration has done all kinds of stuff to loosen up restrictions on the abortion pill, allowing the abortion pill to be shipped through the mail. That is the single biggest thing, to allow the abortion pill to be sent through the mail, allow people to have the abortion pill without seeing a doctor in person. So now anyone can get an abortion as long as they have a P.O. box. All right. Now, when we return, we're going to tackle more of these common questions that I get all the time on the question of abortion. We'll dig into all those. What role do men have in the abortion process? All of that coming next on Right to Life Radio.